So today, yet another recommendation from the Ardex community, and this time it's VRNA Pharma. VRNA Pharma is currently sat at $26.92 and currently has around a $2.2 billion market cap. So first of all, let's take a quick look at the financials for VRNA. And we can see here that there's currently no income for the company, and they are burning through 70 million in the last quarter. You can see there's a massive ramp up here from the last quarter, and that is because they are ramping up their sales team. And if we take a look at the balance sheet, we can see here that they have 434 million in total assets, and they have 265 million in total liabilities. So that's a pretty good sign. Their total assets are much higher than their total liabilities. And it also means they've got a good few quarters left of runway, even at 70 million per quarter. So back in Tiki-Taka, we can see that there's only a couple of bull points here and a couple of bear points. So quite a straightforward company. Top of the list here is the Optavir potential. So Optavir is a recently FDA approved drug that they have for the COPD market. So this is targeted at people that are having difficulty breathing. So this is a progressive disease that gives problems in breathing. There haven't been any breakthroughs in this market for quite some time. So I do think that Optavir has the opportunity to be a blockbuster drug. So if we go down into this bull point, they had something very interesting in their presentation, which you can link to here, and that's if they only get 1% of the market share, that could mean $1.1 million in sales for this company. So currently one of their competitors, 2%, is expected to make around $15 billion. Obviously, if VRNA can make anywhere near this amount, they are significantly undervalued at this point. However, Dupixent is making this money over many indications, and as of yet, Optavir is only indicated for COPD. So a ball point for Optavir is that it can be applied to all groups from A to E for COPD. Now this is significant because it opens up over 90% of the market, and VRNA say over 50% of the people are currently dissatisfied with their current medication. So I'm not saying by any means that Optavir is going to get 50% of the market. And that actually brings me into the bear point that I have here, which is that they are in a very competitive market. So I've already mentioned 2%, but there are many other competitors in this market. And not only that, but there are upcoming trials for other drugs, including itepekimab and Matinee. I would say though that Optavir has some very compelling USPs. The first one in the list here I've added is that it's an inhalable. So the competitors are either injections or they are oral tablets, and those oral tablets would have to be taken multiple times a day. So Optavir is an inhalable that only needs to be taken once a day, and I think this is going to be a big seller for this drug. So the other one is greater efficiency. If we look in here, we can see that Dupixent only showed 34%, where Optavir here is shown between 36 and 43%. And I think this is going to be another really strong USP for this drug. The next one is it's the only dual inhibitor. It inhibits PDE3 and PDE4, simultaneously reducing inflammation and relaxing the airway muscles. And it's also thought that this balance is why it's not seeing the gastrointestinal issues that other drugs have been seeing. So another ball point that I added here to the potential is that there's quite a few ongoing trials to expand into other indications. So these other indications include asthma, cystic fibrosis, as well as drug combinations. So this could open up the potential of the peak revenue to a much higher number. The next ball point is the Optavir growth. Now, it's still very early days for this. They haven't reported any sales, but they did mention in their last earnings report that they'd already made 100 sales in the first few days. Now, this is really quite significant. I can just do some quick math here. So they've had 100 sales and they make 3,000 per month for the sale. Let's put that into a quarter. So they got 900,000 for the quarter, but they said that was in the first few days. So let's say it took 3 days for them to get that. There's about 90 days in a quarter. So we'll times that by 30. So if they were able to sustain that, we could be looking at $27 million. There's a lot of if, buts, and maybes in here. They could accelerate growth, or this could just be pent-up demand. So this is by no means a prediction, but just to give you a fair amount of what those numbers actually mean. So it could be a very exciting first quarter, potentially. So another ballpoint that I got recommended by a member of the StockTwits community by the name of Deadman Joaquin, a name which I think is awesome, by the way. He let me know that the management team were actually part of a previous acquisition. So if you go onto their page, which I've got linked here, you can see that many of the management team come from the same company, Dover Pharmaceuticals, and that got an acquisition at 59% above value. So hopefully they can repeat the same success again. So if we go over to the bear points, we have the fact that there is no backup plan. So Optavere is their only drug. They're looking at other indications, but there's nothing else in the pipeline. So if next quarter we don't see the sales that we're expecting, then we could see a heavy fall in the stock price. And if they carry on to sell not as much as is expected, then we could actually see this company's value go down to zero. I don't think that's going to happen, but that is a risk I think you need to be aware of. And also some of the other companies that I invest in wouldn't have a risk like that. So next in the list is that the cash burn is high. So as mentioned before, they are burning through 70 million in a quarter, and it's a good chance that that's going to go higher as they increase the sales team. They do have 400 million in cash though, so they have a fairly decent runway, and we do hope that the revenue in the next quarter and the quarters to come will soon cover that cost. Okay, so that covers the bull and bear points I have for this company. And then if we go and take a look at the stock price, we can see it's had a very good year so far. In June here, it was down at under $12 and it's now around the $27 mark. So a really nice run up. And the two main catalysts for that was the approval of Optavere and also their earnings report, which was here. It's had a sharp run up since then as well. So we can see here that the market cap is around 2.1 billion. I think that's about 2.2 billion after the run up today. You see it went up 5.6% today. And to be honest, there could be much further for this company to go. It does seem that with the benefits that this drug could provide, they could take a large part of the COPD market share. And based on what they said about getting 1% and that equating to $1.1 billion of revenue, and the fact that their competitors have a potential for $15 billion of revenue, it could be possible that this company could reach $10 to $20 billion of revenue, which would be an incredible feat for a small cap company. And it also means that buyout potential is high because this would be an attractive acquisition for any big pharma company. However, all of this is based pre-sales, and normally I would expect about a year's worth of data before you could really see where the company is heading to. They might have a massive first quarter based off of pent-up demand, and then the quarters after that might not be as impressive, or they might not just reach the sales numbers that they were expecting. Until we have that year's worth of sales data, we just won't know. However, for those willing to take the risk, this could be an absolute multi-bagger. And personally, I think the risks outweigh the rewards on this one, and it's the first stock that I've actually purchased since Ardelex. So if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'm finding great biotech stocks all of the time.